As the One Piece series goes on, Skypiea just keeps getting better and better, and the way that Roger's getting cooked on Twitter,
this some different kind of shit, and I don't want to be a part of it.
yeah, that Charleston White tweet had me crying, and there's a bunch of tweets like that. Just search up One Piece 1138. You're gonna cry laughing at the Roger tweets that are going on. But this One Piece chapter reminded me of when Goldie Roger fought Whitebeard during Wano. That led to Goldie Roger actually heading to Laugh Tale and learning the truth about Joy Boy's story and naming it Laugh Tale because of how funny it was. And then of course there's Luffy in Wano becoming Joy Boy. And that was a very intense moment versus Kaido when it comes to Luffy awakening Gear 5. And then Vegapunk explaining the origins of Delphi during Luffy versus Lucci. That was a treat as well. And then of course there's the Gorosei all in front of Luffy in that iconic moment in Egghead Island, or the iconic panel of One Piece 1121 with all the main characters of the story in the final saga. There's Sabo confronting the Gorosei and Imu and getting attacked by Imu in such an amazing moment where we find out the truth about Lily and her being a Willy D, and showing that Vivi's a Willy D as well. There's Imu killing Saturn at the end of the Egghead Island, and Figure and Garland becoming a new Gorosei. That was of course iconic as well. And this whole Elbaf arc is just straight lore, from Loki to Shamrock to the origins of Nika. But I have to admit, what Oda did today in One Piece 1138 felt like I got spoiled of the ending of One Piece. Yes, these moments I just mentioned were very iconic, and I felt like I was getting spoiled and like I wasn't supposed to be seeing this. But this felt like Oda just dropped the entire One Piece lore in one chapter. Now, of course, there's gonna be way more lore than this, but still, the way that mural looked, yeah, this is gonna be a fun chapter reaction discussion I'm gonna do with you guys today. So buckle up your seatbelts, because I'm about to go deep dive in this One Piece chapter like never done before. Now, the first thing I want to do is dissect the mural that Frankie was looking at. And when I first saw Frankie look at this mural, I thought he was a part of it. Like, he looked like he was Emmett or something, the Iron Giant. Maybe Oda did it on purpose, but still, I think honestly, it took me a while. It took me after like a second chapter read or a third chapter read to actually notice, oh, Frankie's the one who's just staring at the mural, but he looks so a part of it from the silhouette. Now, I do have to say this, the first time I saw it, I can't lie, I didn't notice the Atom Tree in the middle. That seems to be the Atom Tree. And then, of course, there's Zunisha on the right side. This looks to be the first original war, where we have Zunisha on the right side. And inside Zunisha, you have the Noah. You also see the Mother Flame. You see the Serpent that had been talked about since Little Garden. And then, of course, you also see the Celestial Dragon, or pretty much Imu in a sense. That's how I look at it as Imu. But yeah, and then we see a character standing on Zunisha's head with a crown. And I'm thinking that's Nika, but it has the same silhouette as Imu. So what I'm thinking is Imu stole Nika's original kingship. It looks like Nika was the original king, and then Imu became king after the Void Century. That's what I'm getting from this mural. But to continue talking about this, is also the Arc Maxim that looks like an ancient weapon, Pluton. I mean, not Pluton, I mean Uranus. And then we also have the moon, which reminds me of Enel. And of course, it makes me think that Burka is connected somehow, because it's Enel's home island. And that might even tie into Mad Monk Rouge, who's the final Worst Generation member that's not been tied into the main story. And then if I go into the left side of the mural, we have, I think, is the Void Sentry with the Kuzuki clan, maybe the Kuja Pirates, Neftari, Alabasta Kingdom maybe as well. And there's also Emeth, and there's an ancient giant with horns, and we also, that could be Oz related, who knows. And then of course we also see maybe another giant as well that could be related to Jaguar D, because you know Saw is a Willy D member. His ancestor has to be part of Joy Boy's team. And then of course we have Shirahoshi, the ancient weapon Poseidon, and a fish, probably some fishes that she's controlling as well, maybe a fishman. And then of course we also have a mink. We also see maybe one of the kings of the mink tribe, who knows. We see Lunarian up in the top too as well. We see Laboon, that could look like the Moby Dick, or it could be maybe Pluton, who knows, or another ancient weapon like Uranus. I'm not too sure. And then we see a Shandian, of course, which is going to be the city of gold. Shandia, of course, makes sense. And then we see Nika that looks similar to Luffy, but he has a sword and a shield, the same one they talked about a couple chapters earlier with Jaru talking about it. And then we see Imu, who looks the most powerful he's ever looked, with the sun holding in his hand. And if you see the Gorosei on his ship, the 5 Gorosei members. So This is me dissecting the mural from first look. Now, of course, I'm gonna have to look at this mural like at least 5 to 10 times to actually go into deep detail. But from first reaction, this is what I got from that mural, guys. Now, when it comes to Robin reading the text that goes with this mural, I have to talk about the first world. It says this: there was fire upon the earth. Humanity succumbed to desire and touched the forbidden sun. The slaves made a wish, and the god of the sun, in quotation marks, appeared. But the god of the earth became enraged, and alongside the serpent of hell enveloped the world in death and darkness, and they could never meet again. Now, to me, this looks like a 2v1. It looks like Nika versus Imu and this serpent. And Imu looks to be the original Imu, of course. Like, not saying Nerona Imu, but who Imu's based on, the power that Imu's based on. And then, of course, the serpent, I'm wondering who this is going to be connected to as well. And then we see Nika, the original Nika, and it looks like this is them fighting and Nika losing in the original first world, where the world is destroyed. Now let's jump to the second world. The second world is read like this: there was breath upon the emptiness. The god of the forest sent forth demons. The sun merely spread the embers of war. The people of the half moon dreamed. The people of the full moon dreamed. Humanity killed the sun and then ascended to divinity. The god of the sea became enraged. They could never meet again. Now, this looks like Imu sent the Gorosei as the demons, and Nika got his Will of D crew, aka Joy Boy, got his crew, and it looks like Imu pretty much killed Joy Boy with an ancient weapon, and the sea rose and destroying the world, and that pissed off the sea. I'm not too sure what's the exact confirmation of what's going on in the second world, but to me, the second world, it looks like the first world and second world is connecting how Nika loses every time. Whether the original Nika, who looks like he got jumped 2v1, and then of course the Joy Boy Nika looks like he lost with he had a bunch of guys with him, but it looks like the ancient weapons is what he succumbed to. But still, this is cool to see the past when it comes to the first world and the second world. And finally, the third world: there was void upon the chaos, the unbidden shadows. Remember the day of the promise, and they hear the voice of the fragmented moon. The god of the sun dances and laughs, the guiding of the world to its end. The sun will return and a new dawn will come. They will surely meet again. Now, to me, this looks interesting. Obviously, this is talking about the Void Century was erased. This is the end of the Void Century, where pretty much the Void Century is pretty much the erase of 100 years. Then it talks about the Will of D members that are fragmented. They all have D initials, but they don't even know what it is. It looks like Luffy awakens his dove fruit, which is what happened at the end of Wano. And then, of course, it looks like Luffy will end up going against Imu, and this time Luffy will win. That's what it looks like the prophecy. I'm not gonna lie to you, the third world prophecy looks to be will be the first time Nika ever wins. And honestly, from the first world and second world, people are making jokes about Roger saying, yeah, I don't want the smoke, but I'm gonna keep it real. Imu looks incredibly powerful. It looks like the strongest character in the One Piece story, just confirmed off these murals. Just the way they're talking about Imu. It is scary how powerful he looks. Now, Imu looks more stronger in the first, the original world. Then in the second world, he still looks strong, but the first original world, Imu looks incredibly powerful. I believe, though, still, at the end of the day, he still looks incredibly powerful. It looks like Nika looks more stronger in the first world than the second world. Joy Boy looks a little bit weaker than the original Nika, but this is all just speculation and theorizing. But yeah, I had fun dissecting this text, Harley text, and the mural that all connects to it. It was fun, I can't lie. Now, to jump to the Shamrock arc of the chapter. You know what's funny? This Shamrock stuff would have been the best part of the chapter if the lore didn't drop. It's still amazing stuff, but it just gets so overshadowed by the lore that just chopped. But I'm going to jump into the Shamrock stuff. Shamrock asks Loki if he's threatening him. So Gunko says, don't mind him. She tries to calm down Shamrock, but Shamrock says no. He won't even dirty his hands for Loki, and he calls on his pet Cerberus that comes out of his sword. We see a mythical awakened creature with a black sash and a sword coming out of its mouth, as Shamrock claims it's his sword. The Cerberus head starts spinning, and it's huge. Like it's huge when we see the Cerberus. As Gunko creates a bird, and it looks like they're about to leave, and says, "Let's hide our presence." Then the head jumps out of the body after they're commanded by Shamrock. Shamrock says, "Scramble," and the body returns to its sword. As Shamrock says, if Loki survives this, that's when Shamrock will fight him, meaning he will be incredibly. Honestly, it means that Shamrock must be incredibly strong. That this sword attack, which looks incredibly strong in its own individual right, Shamrock's like, this is just the beginning. So I don't know why I want to see also Zoro fight Shamrock, because Cerberus, the 3 swords, 3 heads, it just makes sense, honestly. And then, of course, I've been saying that Shamrock could be the second villain, where Garland could be the first, but honestly, still, Shamrock could be the final villain, because what that power and his sword, and then him as himself, It's amazing. Then of course Loki gets stabbed 3 times by the 3 heads, and Shamrock's new plan is to go for the children as he calls for backup. And I like Shamrock as a villain. The fact that he's going for the children shows he has no, like, he does not give a crap, yo. He's really shooting below the belt. He's really foul, and that's what a villain is all about. And regardless of his lineage, just him as a character, I'm really loving Shamrock in the story. Now, of course, Loki in the beginning of the chapter notices that Shamrock looks just like Shanks, and Gunko immediately defends him, showing that Loki hit a soft spot here. And then Loki then says celestial dragons and pirates is complete opposite, and Shamrock says it's obvious that we have the same face, and that's strange to you. He's my younger twin brother. He was separated from me from birth. He returned to the Holy Land once, but he took a liking to the underrealm. And Loki then says my anger for 2 brothers grows stronger after seeing his friends killed by Shamrock. Oda definitely wants to flesh out Shanks' character before he fights a Willie D member in Blackbeard. This is going to be a Celestial Dragon versus Willie D, but unlike Doflamingo and Luffy or Joy Boy and Nika, no, we're going to be rooting for the Celestial Dragon member against the Willie D member. So definitely, I think Oda wants to teach us a lesson in Shanks and Blackbeard, and this is really good fleshing out his character, honestly. And the fact that Shanks went there once and then said, nah, this ain't it, I think this guy's connected to Roger coming back from Joy Boy's tail and telling him the truth about the Celestial Dragons, and Shanks crying to know that his family is a part of the opposite of what's truly right. Yeah, that's gonna hurt Shanks, if we're being completely honest. It's sad for him, but it's the truth. And he went back and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna stick to the pirate world. I don't want to be a part of the Celestial Dragons. They're wrong. Now in the middle of the chapter, we see Luffy arguing with the fallen giant soldier that pretty much who attacked him. The giant says it's Shanks, and Luffy's pretty much like, hey, it can't be Shanks. And he mentioned Shanks came to Elbaf many times, so we're seeing Shanks is actually familiar with Elbaf. And Zoro even says logically he could be still around because he was here recently. And Nami laughs at Luffy's confidence that it isn't Shanks. And Luffy brings up Bellemere, which Nami's like actually has to correct him and says Bellemere because he said a different name. And I love how Luffy's mentioning her, because definitely is a good, pretty much saying that Shanks means as much to me as Bellemere meant as much to you. And then Luffy talks about how Shanks could have a brother, but his family that he only knows of is Roger, Rayleigh, and not Buggy. And this is where we see Scarpagamon pull up. And wow, this is about, Oda's about to reveal a hype character with the Wano hat. It's very detailed in this chapter, and he's walking towards the castle. And I think the next chapter is going to be hype when this character is he's been waiting for Luffy for a minute, so I can't wait to see him, especially with the lore that we do on this chapter too. Scarpagamon is going to be a treat for us. Then we see Frankie at the Atom Tree, and Saul said to Frankie, don't touch it. And Frankie looks like Emmett too, I gotta admit, so this is interesting as well. And he sees a mural made by children from the Void Century, and Scarpagamon, being a husband to Ripley, knows about Joy Boy's tale, so those scribbles are actually reality, and Ripley thinks it's a child's dream, but Scarpagamon actually knows that it's actually Joy Boy's tale. And since Elbaf never allies giant races, but during the Void Century they actually allied different races like fishmen, mink, and humans. It's just interesting, Lunarians, all that. So I think that this stuff was cool that Oda's sprinkling in the chapter. Not just the huge lore dump, but the build up to the lore dump was cool as well. And I have to mention too, this little moment where we see this walrus school where teacher Angie teaching them. This is obviously foreshadowing to Shamrock going to cause havoc at this school, and there's gonna be Colin there, Scarpagamon's son, who's also looks up to Shanks and seeing a lookalike of Shanks causing havoc to the children. I think he's gonna stand up to Shamrock, but yeah, he's already heard of Shamrock. He wants to go for the children first, so this is definitely foreshadowing from Oda, guys. And of course, the Al Library, Saul brings out the Harley book, and it says that Elbaf's myths are created from this book, and explains why many different Nikas believed by the giants or Elbaf is because of the different interpretations of this book. Saul says only thing in common is Nika laughs and he does this dance, and there's a drums of liberation who dances to see Kuma, Vegapunk, Kizaru, and Naked Island. And it's just cool to see the Nika lore is so connected to Luffy, the main character. And then we see Robin starting to read the chapter, or not chapter, she's starting to read the text. Harley text is like, I thought Robin was like us for a second, and then Chopper looks excited too as well, but Frankie's face is in complete utter shock when he looks at the mural. And I love that little element that Oda added, showing that Frankie is in awe of what he's seeing. And I wonder, maybe I seen on Twitter that some people are connected to Luffy's dream. Maybe it has to do with Luffy's dream. I'm not too sure, but there's got to be an extra reason why Frankie's in awe. Yes, the mural is insane because I was in awe just like as a fan, but I think there's more to the story as well. And lastly, I'll talk about the cover story. The cover story is connected to Nika as well because it's Huzu. Oda finally reveals Huzu. He's been building up for the last couple of chapters, and he does it in this chapter where it's like the origins of One Piece. Huzu is kind of started this in Wano when it comes to talking about the song Nika and all that stuff. So it looks badass seeing Huzu. And he looks badass, I can't lie. Even though Jinbei rocked him, he looks pretty cool. And he's not that weak. He has Rokushiki, he has Haki, he's an Ancient Zoan Sabretooth. That's cool as well. Huzu was cool as it comes to his design and his base stats. It's just that Jinbei just utterly destroyed him and he was talking trash. I would love him to join Nika at the end, but I don't know, with his grudge with Luffy and Shanks and that whole plot line, I'm not too sure where Huzu's story is gonna go, but we're gonna see how Yamato deals with this, because Huzu knows Yamato. They were on the same crew, for goodness sake, so it's gonna be cool to see that dynamic interaction as well. And I have to admit, guys, I usually live stream chapters. And then give my reaction there, and then pretty much talk about the chapter there. But today I had to give you guys a video, guys, because this chapter was just too monumental. I think it's one of the greatest chapters in One Piece, so I have to give you guys a video. People who don't like lore probably think boring, but honestly, it was giving me insane Attack on Titan vibes when we got the basement lore. So I love chapters like this, that when it comes to the origins of the One Piece story, and it's a reality that we have to face, a harsh reality. One Piece is ending, guys, and this chapter is the proof that One Piece is ending. So I love this. Some people might not like it, but if you don't like it, are you truly a One Piece fan? Like, this is what we've been waiting for years, guys. So I thought it was cool, but debate in the comment sections